Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I'm taking a look at Dominions 5, Warriors of the Faith. This is a game I've been playing for a little while now. Well, actually, I was playing Dominions 4 for a while, but I finally made the jump, took the plunge, and upgraded to Dominions 5. So today I'm going to have a quick look at it. It's not going to be so much of a deep dive kind of exploration into what the game is, as is my tradition, because I've kind of already done that with my Dominions 4 video. So I think today we're just going to kind of more like contrast the two games and see what's changed in the two, what's better, what's worse, that sort of thing. So I guess maybe we'll we'll describe it on the surface real quick. So what is this? Well, this is a strategy fantasy 4X developed by a company called Illwinter Games. It was released in November of 2017, and it's still going strong. It's still got a really good community, good modding community, good multiplayer community. So it's still alive and kicking. So basically, long story short, you've got a bunch of units. You start off with a town, and the idea is you grow your army, go take more territory, get more money, buy more troops, and so on and so on. So it's pretty bog standard 4X in that regard. Obviously, there's a bunch of elements thrown in there, which like I said, I don't want to get too deep into it in this video. We covered it in my last one, but it's basically a 4X with a pretty sweet spin on it. So what do I like about the game, first of all? So in contrast to the old game, Dominions 4, the visuals have been greatly improved, which is a welcome thing. Things just look a lot better. Like, they've done a lot of sprite work, particularly with some of the giant races. They've really improved some of the sprites there. Maybe I could show you real quick here. So here, we're looking at the Niflheim roster, and all of these sprites are greatly updated from the previous iteration, in particular the Nifljarl. This is what it looks like in Dominions 5. Maybe I'll pull up a quick picture of what it looked like in Dominions 4, just to give you an idea. But they've improved a lot of the sprite work. They've done a lot of work on the UI, which is really nice. For example, in Pretender selection, they've got it all nice and laid out here. So you've got your immobiles, your kind of statue things for, I guess mostly for blesses, or, you know what I mean, going scales. You're not really trying to fight with these guys because they're immobile. You've got your Titan class here. You've got your sort of animal monster class down here, and then you've got your mage human class down here. So they're separated, whereas in Dominions 4 they were not. So it's nice to have them visually separated like that for quick selection. If you're going for something in particular, you can just jump right to the category. So that's always good. Just a bunch of quality of life stuff they've thrown in this update. So you can now queue up move orders, which is cool. In the old game, you had to like click every single time for every single army stack. I want you to go here. Okay, now go here. Okay, now go here. So now you can actually queue up a destination, and they'll work their way to it. They'll path, which is pretty cool. The map itself is greatly cleaned up, like just the visuals of the map, and also like the arrows and the lines going across the terrain don't look as low rent, I guess. They look a little bit better, so that's always nice. It just helps when like people who haven't played the game, like new players, are looking at this title, kind of thinking, yeah, no, I'll skip that. It's still not like a AAA, it's not Doom 4 or Doom 3 or whatever, right? It's not it's not Crisis, but it takes away some of that pain, I guess, and it makes it a little bit better of a barrier to entry, a lower barrier to entry, I guess you could say. The bless system in Dominions 5 is a little bit more flexible, if a little bit nerfed. We can talk about that in a bit. But rather than simply getting blesses based on what paths you took, you can now sort of pick and choose. I mean, it's still more or less based on the path, but you can pick different blesses within the path. And also, your priests, their spells will get slightly different effects. They all more or less have the same sort of purposes, but they'll have slightly different flavors and slightly different effects depending on the type of god that you've created, right? So, instead of smite, maybe it's claim life. It more or less does the same thing, but it's got a different flavor to it, just stuff like that. So it's kind of neat that way. They've updated the combat mechanics, so instead of being completely and totally turn-based, it's now kind of like a pseudo real-time combat system. Now, if you really watch it go, it's still, I think it technically still is turn-based, but it all plays together in a much more fluid, sort of quasi-real-time setup, which makes it a lot easier to watch, and it's quicker too. The battles resolve themselves a lot quicker, so it's there's less pain in watching each battle, so it's pretty cool that way. Alright, so let's move on to some of the things I wasn't so keen on. Getting right back to the real-time battle mechanics. as cool as it is, and as like nice and streamlined as that is, I question the mechanics of it because it feels now like ranged units like archers and mages and things like that, they don't seem to be like leading their targets properly. So it's like even if you hit, you still miss because it's a moving target, right? So like in the old game, you know, it's the archer's turn, they go, and then it's whoever else's turn and they go, and so on. But so like, you know, if it's the archer's turn and they want to shoot at a particular square, assuming their accuracy is high enough, or their precision or whatever it is, assuming their precision is high enough, and they roll like, okay, that's a proper hit, well then they're going to hit that square because their targets aren't moving, right? But now in Dominions 5, I said I don't really know what's going on under the hood. I could be completely mistaken here, but you're seeing a lot more arrows miss and a lot more spells miss because it's like they shoot at the square and that's cool, but by the time the arrow gets all the way over here, the unit's already moved a few squares, so it just misses, right? So I don't know if that's figured into the actual calculations of whether that arrow would have missed anyway, or whether that's just a really crappy side effect of the real-time combat. I'm not really sure. Maybe an expert can chime in, but it certainly feels like a lot more arrows and spells and fireballs are missing more than they should be, but that's just my impression of it, so I'm not super keen on that. Also, back to the bless system, while it is more flexible, it does just have an overall sensation of being kind of nerfed. Like back in Dominions 4, you could like come up with some crazy blesses, and maybe that's on purpose, right? Like maybe they're nerfing it on purpose, like they felt it was too much, and maybe it was. I don't know. I wasn't an expert at Dom 4, and I'm certainly not an expert at Dom 5 either. I still consider myself a newbie in this community, but you know, it just feels weaker. Everything just feels weaker. The bless system, while more flexible, doesn't have that same punch. And maybe that's a good thing, but either way, it took me a little bit of getting used to, for sure. Another thing that's a bit odd about this game, it has a thriving multiplayer community, but the multiplayer connectivity is not great. Like it's a real pain. Like it should be super simple, but I had a hell of a time setting up a game. I played one multiplayer game with someone, and it was pure pain to get that set up. Finally, we had to use some kind of weird like special dedicated server hosted by I don't even know what the hell we connected to. Wasn't an official server of any stretch, and the game technically does have direct IP connectivity, which I respect a lot, but it doesn't seem to work. At least it didn't work for us anyway, and man, we were just pulling at our hair trying to connect. But it's a real shame because this game is designed around multiplayer, it would seem to me anyway. Like it would seem most people consider multiplayer to be the kind of the bread and butter of what this game is about, but man, that connectivity, they don't make it easy. So if you're a network guru, maybe this is no issue for you, but I don't know. I had some difficulty with it, which is a real shame. So all in all, what do I think? Well, I'm going to go ahead and say this is an excellent upgrade. If you're used to Dom 4 and you're just kind of like mulling over in your head, is it worth the money to upgrade? I'd say hell yeah, it's worth the money. Absolutely. I mean, it's not like it's a cheap game per se, but for the amount of hours you're going to get out of this game, I mean, if you're if you're a veteran of the earlier Dominions games, you know what you're getting into, and this is just a straight upgrade. Like everything is just kind of better. You know, new races, new everything, new spells, and lots of nice quality of life improvements, which are always good to see. So I think overall, it's definitely an improvement on Dom 4, which is an impressive thing to say, because Dom 4 was not a crap game by any stretch. But I feel like this is a straight upgrade, and now that I've gotten used to it, I don't see myself going back to Dominions 4 as much as I loved it. Definitely one of my favorite games ever. Like this series has become an instant favorite for me. But yeah, I'm sort of full locked on Dominions 4 or 5 right now. Sorry, and I suspect if you were to make the change, and I would go so far as to call it an upgrade. If you make the upgrade, I would definitely think it'd be worth it. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you thought of the game down below. But for now, I think we're gonna call it there, guys. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.